It's 2025, and we're all sitting here as disabled and chronically ill people, waiting for the ball to drop, but not the fun one. More an axe, really, when Trump is inaugurated. He's promised repeatedly to fuck us over and put Kennedy, RFK, a guy who did cocaine for 15 years, in charge of our food and drug safety, and put Dr. Oz in charge of SSI, SSDI, Medicaid, and Medicare. And the Congress has repeatedly promised the minute they got a Republican majority, they said this as early as last year, like early last year, that they will chop those things hard. So, what we gonna do? First off, again, I don't want to whip anyone into a frenzy, but I've gone full Del Gribble. This is the advice I'm personally doing for myself, and I recommend it for you, but it's up to you what you want to do. Ooh, that looks a little off. Okay, so first off, if you haven't applied for benefits, do it now. Because no matter what happens, you'll have proof you did apply. If you've been rejected, I'd apply again with a lawyer if possible. Maybe even a different one if you did the first time. Then I would recommend, if you haven't already, a lot of us live couch surfing, live with relatives. I do that. A lot of people are almost homeless, like live in RVs. This will sound weird considering the rest of those social cuts, but I strongly say you should look into what HUD, Section 8, in any blue state you think you can stand, and the two top tier ones that, like, you could easily get it are Minnesota and Illinois. No, you're not going to get Chicago or Minneapolis easy. In fact, Minnesota seems to have this shit where HUD for elderly doesn't include disabled, but Illinois it almost always does. So look to the smaller towns and your odds are better. There was one that was almost up by Canada, and they seemed ready to sign you up right now, but I didn't like it because I would still have to drive to get, anything. Very rural. If you're looking for public transportation, I'd strongly recommend Illinois. They have a better system. It's not perfect, but even the smaller cities have usually a rail system of some kind. I applied for a very small town in Illinois in November, and I'm having the review the start of January here. It seems implied that by February I could have it. So that's how fast that's moved. Now you're probably saying, well, what if they kill our HUD? What if they kill SSI, etc.? I don't know. My hope is those states will cover the healthcare and welfare of people who they know are disabled. Also, HUD is based on your income, and I don't know for a fact, but I assume if you get $0, then hopefully your rent's $0. Well, it could be 30%, but zero is still zero. So, a lot of HUD too includes the utilities. Be sure of that before you sign up for something. So, yeah. Next up, make a go bag. A week's worth of medicine, food, for water for you, your pets, and or children, and a change of clothes probably. You'll want to print off copies of your important documents as well as any physical maps to like directions to get to the nearest where you feel you'd be safe. I literally have had one towards Canada since I came back to Iowa. And this sounds so dramatic, but honestly, there's a lot of uses for go bags. Even a natural disaster, that's a great thing to have, versus having nothing. If you have your own car, I'd recommend keeping it in there unless when it gets really hot, your medicines, just be careful of that. At least have it somewhere you know where it is and you can quickly grab it if you need to. The next thing, and this is controversial, I'll be right honest. Even 5 years ago, I'd be shocked that I was saying this. Get a gun and learn to shoot. This is not for harming people, but for self-protection. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't trust that there's not people who will be coming for us. I've never even shot a gun. I'm a vegetarian. I don't like killing things. The one I picked is a 22 because a 22 likely won't kill somebody, but it would, injure them. So that's what I'm going for. And I'm going to have to take lessons because I have no idea how to shoot. But luckily, there's a million gun ranges here, so I just have to cover up my California plates. If you feel a gun is too dangerous with your mental health, valid, 100%. I would recommend getting a very good and strong taser, bear mace, whatever you can get just in case. For the record, I've read a lot of self-defense things. Knives and pointy stuff don't seem to be a great idea because unless you can get an eye, they're going to keep attacking you and they'll just be pissed off at that point. Let's see what else. And I guess I'd say, since we don't know what's coming, either try to start and or join a group in your area who is for all the good things like Free Palestine, trans liberation, and disabled representation, because Code 260 or 286. Sorry, those numbers. I'm like freaking. What do they call it? Calculus. I can't even say it. Numbers dyslexic. Who knows what's gonna happen? But they already make disabled a dirty word on social media. I think that's a really good idea to start up a group in your area. Always wear a mask for protection. Don't put your full name. And make sure you leave any identifying details out. Use Signal. You can start with Discord or Reddit or Twitter, whatever you need to gather people. But move over to Signal once you have, because that's the safest possible way to communicate. And if you need to make a separate profile entirely just to do this, I think that's a good idea. Always wear a mask in public for protection of both COVID, bird flu, whatever, and your identity. And just be ready. If we're lucky, this is hysterics and nothing ever comes to be. I don't believe we'll be lucky. I believe Trump will try to stay in office past 4 years. I do believe he's going to just fascist dictatorship up our government. And again, in the end, if you did all this and that doesn't come to pass, so you got a group now of people ready to protest and raise hell for universal health care. You'd have protection for yourself and whoever you live with. And you'd have a go bag in case of anything, including emergencies. So please take this seriously.